one of the unusual things we're seeing different is when it comes to AI, the press we see all the time around ensuring that AI is being implemented in a way that keeps us all safe. There's probably never seen so much noise about a technology release where there's so much concern. And I think we'd all agree that most technologies get released and then somewhere down the track, someone wants to work out how to provide policies and governance around it. Whereas now what we're seeing is, in many cases, the governance is leading the technology, the requirement for it. The technology is certainly out there in front, but the requirement for it is leading the need for governance is being put very high, or at least next to it in any significant organization. So today we'll be talking about things and that relate to this, and Giovanni may touch on them, but we've already seen in Australia, we've got the AI ethics principles. CSIRO have been working closely with the Australian government around policies, and we've got the Australian AI safety standard in the pipeline. So from that, what I'd like to do is just ask Giovanni about his thoughts on what does it mean when we talk about responsible AI governance.
Perfect. Thank you, Phil. I'm really happy to be on this conversation with you. We've been speaking for quite some time, and through the partnership that we have between Delivio and Credo.ai, I see that it's a great opportunity to bring this conversation up to the forefront for more people. So a short introduction about myself is that I've been deep into business operations and development of organizations and analytics and AI for the past 20 years. Majority of that time within the global operations of IKEA, where I ended up in towards the end of my tenure as global head of algorithm and AI ethics, putting in the practice of AI governance and AI ethics across the global organization. Since a year, I've been head of business strategy and development at Credo.ai. Which we'll touch upon maybe a bit later, but it's a platform to support and enable organizations to have AI governance at scale, bringing in the principles of ethics into practice, but also supporting compliance towards standards, guidelines, and regulation within AI. And to pivot on the point of what my take on is on responsible AI governance, I think to start off the topic and kind of framing the conversation, I think it's building on the existing practices of data governance, data quality, and model operations. So it doesn't come from anywhere. It doesn't come from a place of a void, but rather it's building on an existing practice where we have got better understanding and control over how we're using data and how we're using algorithms. So it builds on a movement that has been ongoing for at least a decade across the industry. But it's also associated to the existing practice of business ethics that we see across value chains, how organizations have developed a code of conduct, how we should behave between people, while the topic of AI ethics is how to bring that practice also into our digital and algorithmic processes. We also see it's an expansion of risk and compliance, where we have seen risk and compliance always being a part of an organization, while now expanding to also encompass specifically how algorithms are being used, whether that is being developed internally or procured through digital solutions. But also, I would say that it's also an idea of how to bring in the talk of sustainability in its all dimensions, both the social sustainability aspects of fairness and unbiased approach, and how that is translated into algorithmic processes, but also how we're not consuming too much energy while utilizing the data processing part. In many ways, the responsible AI governance is about an alignment of utilizing AI with internal policy demands that the organization has, its own values, its own direction of how to conduct business, but also towards external policy demands and expectations from stakeholders, users, civil society, and also regulation and other expectations and frameworks on the outside. And to round it off, I think it's also an interesting field as it acts in the intersection of business, data, and people, where one needs to cater for all three dimensions when talking about AI governance. It's not only about how business is to be conducted for efficiency, and not only about how data enables that, but also how the whole process impacts people and society.